Hello, I'm David Burress of Calerin Forge, and I'd like to welcome you this evening to our continuing saga of the Damascus blade. If you remember a few videos back, we started out with a billet similar to this one that we welded up, and through a lot of forging and filing and sanding, we've ended up, this is the blade that we were working on in the last video. Still got a few file marks to sand out, but we're essentially there. We're at a point anyway where tonight we're going to be fitting the bolster and the pommel piece and the handle, getting everything ready to put a handle on this knife, and then we'll finish cleaning it up and heat treat it, and then the only thing left is etching and putting the handle on. So we're in the home stretch for making a good Damascus blade here. So let's get started. All right. The handle for this knife is gonna be part of a white-tailed deer's shin bone, and nice thing about using a bone like this is it's got a nice hollow center if you let them dry long enough till all the marrow and stuff's gone. And it's also kind of got an elongated shape already. So I just had to file out the interior with these little needle files. This is just a little cheap set like you get at the big box hardware, but they work fine because you're usually only using these on either soft brass or bronze or bone. So, but anyway, so I've got just enough gap there for my bolster. And also on this one, that's going to be my bolster and my pommel, hopefully. I just cut a slice off of a big chunk of brass that I don't remember where I picked it up, but be on the lookout for anything like that. But I'm going to take just a regular copper pipe fitting for a sweat fitting for copper, and I'm going to swage it out and hopefully make a ferrule that'll give us a nice transition between the bone and the bolster. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first before we make the bolster. Now I don't know if you know this, but when you're working with copper, if you want to anneal it and make it soft, it's kind of the opposite of iron. You heat this up and then quench it in water, and that makes it soft. So, and it hardens as you work it. So we're going to heat this up, and I'm going to drive it up on the Bic iron here, and hopefully swage out the top of it a little bit. So. You just want to get a nice cherry red heat, and then just douse it in the water. And it doesn't take long, it heats up rather quickly. There's your and there's our piece of annealed copper. So you got to be kind of careful that you don't deform the the end that's going to remain smaller too much by doing this. Alright, so there's our ferrule, and I think that's going to look pretty nice. I may texture it a little bit with a ball peen or something. We'll see once we get it all put together if it's going to need it. Now this bone looks really cruddy right now, but if you put that on a buffing wheel with a little bit of jeweler's rouge on it, it'll shine it up just like ivory. The fitting up the bolster, the way I like to do it, I lay my blade down. This one, I think, if you notice, I think that is going to be sufficient width to make a decent guard for this one. So I'm going to center the blade up on the bolster, and I'm going to mark on both sides of the tang. And then I want to figure out how wide it's going to need to be. So it can actually be just maybe a fraction wider than the handle. Alright, got the holes drilled in it. There's our pieces marked out. Now this, I kind of wallowed the drill bit a little bit to try to wear some of that piece in the middle down, because there wasn't room to drill a third hole there. So what I'm going to do is take a small chisel and cut that little piece of metal in the middle out, and then we'll needle file it till we get it nice and square to where it fits up flush on our with our blade when we slide the tang in it. So let's get that done. So now it's just a matter of filing it out. Actually lock this in the vise, be a little easier. So there's our bolster. Fits fairly good. I've got a little bit of a gap right there, but I think I can, the brass is soft enough, I can tap it and tighten it up on there once I get it cut out. So, let's see. We'll have to mark this for which side goes where. We'll go ahead and mark the tang because I've got way too much sticking through. So I'll go ahead and cut that off, cut these pieces out, and we'll be ready to put this lad together. Alright, so all of our parts pretty much fit. I've got a little bit of adjustment to do. We got a little more filing to do up here to make that fit, but you can get, and I'll have to sand this bone down flat as well, because we don't need these cavities underneath here. So there's a little more work to do, but that's essentially, I think everything is close enough that I can go ahead and heat treat the blade and etch it, and then do the final fit and put everything together permanently when we come back. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it's helpful to you. Let me hear from you in the comments, and don't forget to check out our Patreon page. So y'all have a good evening. God bless, and happy smithing.